Hello, I'm Katherine Pfeiffer, and I am a relationship coach and love guide. And I am doing a special series, little videos about happy love. So, in my book, Happy Love is the kind of love that you think about it and you think to yourself, am I happily in love? Do I experience happy love? And in your heart and in your soul, you say, yeah, I do. It's not about perfect love. It's not about love where you don't fight or you have disagreements or you have issues. Happy love is about fundamentally feeling really, really good and solid about love. And I've created an entire platform about creating that because it's quite a complex sort of thing, creating happy love. There's a lot that goes into it. And there's a lot that happy love also impacts. Because when you're in a happy relationship and you feel good about where you are in your relationships, whether you're currently in a place where you're thinking about getting into another relationship or you are in a long-term relationship now, being in that state and not being in a traumatic or turmoil state affects the rest of your life. It affects everything. It affects your friendships, it affects your family, it affects your work life, it affects everything. And there's a big cost that is impacted when you're not happy in love. The biggest cost is you. When you're not feeling good, when you're not feeling solid about your love life, it affects everything else. So in this video series, I'm popping in briefly every once in a while over the next couple of weeks to talk about what I believe are the foundations to happy love. And they're in no order. I haven't thought about, you have to have this one first and then that one. There's just all random things that are important in terms of creating a solid foundation for happy love. And the first one I want to talk about is boundaries. Boundaries usually get a bad rap. If you have boundaries, you have, you're possibly a little bit stringent or strict or controlling or just clinchy, I guess is the best word. But let's look at boundaries in a different way. I like to call them beautiful boundaries because boundaries can be so wonderful and so beautiful. So boundaries can be about what you tolerate and what you don't. Boundaries can be about when you go to bed. Boundaries can be about when you wake up. Boundaries can be about how you like your morning routine to go. Boundaries can be about what you expect in terms of a relationship. So I have a couple of great examples. One's a personal one and one isn't. The personal one is I am married to a firefighter, and my husband, Tony, he works with mostly men, a few women, but mostly men who communicate in a different way than I do. And when Tony and I first got married, Tony changed positions just a little bit, and he had a brief period of time off. And all of a sudden, he started ribbing me. He started making fun of me. He started in a sweet kind of just like ha 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 kind of way. And I didn't like it. I didn't like being made fun of. I didn't like how he was jabbing at me. I didn't like how he was calling out my faults. I didn't like it. I was very sensitive at the time. I don't like it now, although I'm a little bit, it's a little easier for me to jab back and forth unless I get super serious or sensitive and then I have to say something about it. But back then, I didn't like it. And, I realized that he was missing his friends. This is the way that he communicated with his buddies, just kind of this, showing each other that they liked each other by jabbing each other and kind of making fun. So I realized that was how he liked to communicate with his friends. And I also realized I didn't like it. And so I created a boundary around that. I just said, listen, go hang out with your buddies. I know you miss them. And I don't like that. I don't like that you are jabbing me. I'm really sensitive. I'm a sensitive soul. And he said, oh, and he learned something about me that day. And it was a great boundary to create. And we had to come back to it every once in a while. Like I said, I'm a little bit less sensitive than I used to be, and kind of understand that that's a little bit of the way that he loves on people. And he recognizes that I'm incredibly sensitive and that I don't necessarily respond well to that. Another boundary could be, there's a lot of different kinds of relationships out there, and there's fluid relationships, and there's relationships that are open and relationships that are closed. And so a boundary could be about whether or not your relationship is open or closed. What I mean is, if it's open, it means you see other people, and if it's closed, it's just the two of you. It's monogamous. And so that is a boundary. If you're not open to being in, a polyamorous relationship, then that boundary is important to create so that you understand what the foundation of your relationship is. If you aren't open to your lover sleeping with other people, then that's a good boundary to create. And that's an extreme one, but it really kind of drives that example home of, you're either open to it or you're not. And when I was in my dating years, in my early 20s, I wasn't quite sure that I could put that boundary out there. My boyfriend was seeing a couple other people besides me, and I was only seeing him, and I wasn't open to him seeing anyone else, but I didn't know how to say that was a boundary that I felt was important. So when you're thinking about boundaries for you, think about what are all the things that are important to you in terms of your life. And then think about how to create boundaries around them so that you don't feel yucky, or you don't feel like somebody's stepping on them, or you don't feel out of control. You don't feel pushed. And see if there are ways that you can create those boundaries. And if you're attracting a new love, this is a great time to think about what those boundaries are for you. And if you are in a relationship, a long-term relationship, you can think about what boundaries you'd like to shift or change or grow or open so that you feel supported and loved. And maybe even ask your partner what are the boundaries that they want to create too. I will leave you with that today. I hope you have a beautiful day, and I will see you soon. Bye.